Hey guys, it's Andy with Andrigan Gaming, and we're back tonight for another video of First Steps in Vana'Diel. Now in this series, we're talking about the classic servers, which are level 75 cap of Final Fantasy XI, really harkening back to that 2006 era when the game was in what most people consider its heyday. So in the last video, we talked about what happens up to level 10 on a classic server, and how much different it is from retail. So there were a few things that you may not have expected, and a few things that you might remember with rose-tinted glasses. Tonight, we're going to talk about what to do after you hit level 10. But thanks to a couple of comments on the last video that we did, I did want to cover a couple of important points that we may have missed out in the last video. The first thing that we might have missed is the Emperor's Band, or Empress Band. Now, these rings can be purchased from the Conquest vendor in your respective city. So just find the guard that's standing near the gate to go outside. Usually it's one that's got two initials after his name. Ask to purchase something with conquest points, go to the normal everyday items, and usually you can find an Empress Band in there for about 2,000 conquest points. Now, you'll be earning conquest points as long as you have Signet cast on you, and these are the same guys that give it to you, so it shouldn't be too hard to find them. Also from those vendors, you can pick up things like warp scrolls and re-raise scrolls that can be really beneficial, and they're not super expensive conquest points. Past that, once we get to level 10, that's when the game really starts to come alive, like we talked about last time. And one of the ways that the game comes to life is through life with other people. That's right, at level 10, it's getting pretty close to time for most jobs to start partying in Volcrum Dunes. Now, there are other places to group. I do know of some people that group in Baburumu at this level and have some success. But for the most part, it's always been about the Volcrum Dunes. Now in Volcrum, you'll typically start on lizards from about the 10 to 13 range, and then move over to some damselflies or maybe some crabs on the beach. Eventually, once you get into the 16 to 17 range, it'll be about time to step up and work on pugils. And you'll really be working on those until you get to level 20 and head to Kufum Island. Or if you've only got one main job, it's time to work on that sub-job. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the sub-job quest. Something that's very different nowadays in retail than it was once upon a time. But I'm going to tell you how it worked originally. That way you can appreciate exactly how hard it was to get through this, particularly as just a level 18 character. No sub job, no friends, and the world is a scary, scary place. In order to flag the sub job quest, you'll need to hit level 18 on your main job. Once you get to that point, the quest can be either flagged in Selbina or Mahara, and both of them are in the location of G10. In Selbina, you'll be looking for a guy named Isako, or in Mahara, you'll be looking for a person named Vera. Now, I haven't done the Mahara version of this, but the Selbina version I'm extremely familiar with. Now, the person that you speak to in their respective towns is going to give you a pretty tall order as far as items that you need to gather. They'll want 3 items, one of which is a damselfly worm that can be gotten off of the damselflies there in Volcrum Dunes. The second item is going to be a crab apron, which again can be gotten off of the crabs in the Volcrum Dunes. The last one's usually the trickiest. The last item you're going to need is a magic skull. That item comes from the ghouls that come out only at nighttime in the Volcrum Dunes. However, if you're feeling particularly brave, you can wander your way across the Constant Highlands, being sure to avoid the Tremorams and any other gigantic enemies that may want to rip your face off, and venture into the Guzgan Mines. Now in the Guzgan Mines, there are tons of undead and lots of skeletons that are easy to access, even from around level 18. Now these skeletons can drop the magic skull. The drop rate's not super high, but I did this with a group recently, and I think it took us about an hour and a half to get 2 or 3 of them? I don't remember, but it was somewhere in that department. There are also a lot of people in my link shell that probably remember that night with fondness, because that was the night that the Mog House decided to use benediction in front of a whole bunch of undead. Let's just say it didn't go well. after you get the sub-job items, you'll want to go back to the respective person that gave you the quest in either Selbina or Mahara. I really can't recommend Selbina enough, because all of the creatures that you need to kill can be found in the Volcrum Dunes, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. But if you're doing it from Mahara, I respect that. You may just need to Google the quest to get all the specifics if it's different. Once you unlock your sub-job, the entire world of Final Fantasy XI changes. Now you have the ability to use any other job underneath your own at half its level. Now, for anybody who's not familiar with the concept, what that means is, let's just say I had a level 40 red mage, and I wanted to sub a black mage for my sub job. What that would mean is, I would have all the spells and abilities available to a black mage up to level 20, as my sub job can only be half the level of my main job. Now, what this does is create an incredibly interesting dynamic in the game of what main job do I want and what sub jobs complement it best, to really maximize whatever role I'm going for in the game. Now, while I'm mentioning roles, it is very important to note that once you're in the Volcrum Dunes and start to pick up group parties, you're going to learn your job way better than what you've been dealing with up until now. Healers are going to learn how to keep people alive. Tanks are going to learn how to keep people alive. DPS are hopeless. We all know it. Essentially, the truth is that you're going to learn a lot more about your job as you journey through the Volcrum Dunes, and while it's still slowly paced in comparison to later game, it's a really nice introduction into what the game really develops into later on down the lines. Well guys, I hope that that's helped you get an idea of what your next step should be in Vana'Diel, and I hope that you'll continue to check out this series. I'm really excited about making it, and I'm having a great time. Outside of that, I hope you guys tune in again, and I'll catch you next time. Till then, deuces. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting the like button, and think about subscribing to the channel. We got a lot of Final Fantasy XI content on there, and a lot more to come. You can also follow me on Twitter, @AndroggenGaming.